Okay. Hi, Marlena. So this is Judy of Divina Cucina in Tuscany, and we're going live outside of London with Marlena Spieler. Hi.
Hi, Judy. Well, I'm in like deepest, darkest Hampshire, at the edge of a forest,
How
which is
far is
about
it
as
from
far from
London?
Tuscany as you can get. It's only about an hour and a half, 2 hours, not far.
Uh-huh.
But it's also, the distance is maybe about 20, 30 years.
And how long have you been there?
Well, 20 years. I know it's been it's really actually it's been an incredible experience during like lockdown to be here because it you know without traveling other places, it's just like living in a, it's hard to explain, but in a, well, bubble, a very British bubble. Me, my little lamb chop, my husband,
When did
my
you
June.
leave? When did you leave California?
When I was there about a year ago this
No,
time
when did
of
you
year.
move? When did you move?
Oh, 1989.
Mhm.
So I was headed for Rome and I stopped in London, visited friends, ran out of money, stayed in London for about 12 years, met my husband. And then, long story short, we ended up down here. But, you know, I don't want to say ended up because we've just had a bit of a sojourn here. And it's very pretty. And the air is really sweet. And we're right near the sea. But I'm ready for my next adventure.
So also, I don't know how many people know you, but you used to write for the San Francisco Chronicle, right?
Yeah, so I wrote for the San Francisco Chronicle since about the mid 80s, when I published my second book, which was Hot and Spicy. And then I started doing features for them. And eventually I started a column called The Roving Feast.
That's
And
appropriate.
to talk my way into that, it was so hard because it's like, oh, there's a San Francisco paper. Why are you writing about all these other places? But it's simply because all the, San Francisco people like to go lots of different places. And I was traveling and meeting people and, like your good self. And it was just such a joy. First of all, I was like sort of an undercover Brit. I was an American, but I was like totally British husband, etc. So there was that, and there were so many stories I could write about, and I did. And then it was all the traveling as well, because wherever you go, there's always, well, there's so many great people, and everybody has a story. And even if it's a total catastrophe, and even if everyone nearly gets killed, it doesn't matter because you all sit down at the table and eat something really good at the end.
And
And
what
that
I've
was my
loved during
with the
what I've loved
recipe,
during
because
COVID is it looks like you're traveling every day with a different dish.
yeah,
So you have a
I
different,
would,
like you're making sauerkraut or you're pickling green tomatoes, and you have all your spices. And what are your
well,
favorite spices?
I know. And also now, since, okay, so I mean, when COVID hit, I was in Italy and I remember like flying back and everywhere was out of masks. So I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do on the airplane? So I just wore my scarf like that, got back here, and I haven't left the house since. So
Yeah.
because I can't travel yet until we get that vaccine, I'm having all my spices and things that I've brought back from everywhere I've been. When I travel, I pick up something like this mince pie and I bring it to the next person. So I haven't been able to do that. I've been here. So every little ingredient. Oh, like this, my little cherry tomatoes. Every little ingredient I've been able to take down from the shelf, make something with it, and say, oh, and connect that way, which has been really great. I did bring my handbag
You always
because
have great things in that handbag. You're famous. So what's
exactly,
there right now?
and I mean,
You're like Felix the cat.
so the thing is this, okay, in my handbag, generally speaking, whenever I go anywhere, it's going to be different with Brexit, but I like to be able to pull out a cheese and give it to somebody. Judy, would you like this nice petite? So
Brie in your bag.
perfect. It's just like perfect. And I do have to say that in my handbag, the temperature is perfect for aging it just to the right degree of runniness. I
Yeah.
swear to do that catering as well. And oh, it's leaking a little bit. Yeah, that's the problem. Can leak. But like how could I go anywhere? Oh, it's so good. How could I go anywhere without what's it called? Lago Ma, but it's chili crunch.
Oh, yummy.
Chili?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you don't, I'm gonna have to bring you a jar when I come
I have
and visit.
friends
It's
that
just-
always travel with chili because I think chili can save any dish.
It can. I have also in here little olive oil, but I know I have another little chili. Oh, I had a garlic. eh, I swear on a lemon. I do have some Korean chili in here because like your friend said, what if you go someplace and there's just this really boring meal? I mean,
Yeah, I
so
had
I like
an
things that can
Indian
go to-
student once, and we were using chili pepper in our class, and he was practically in tears because he missed chili. So I gave him a little like aluminum foil container of they were like bird's eye chilies, dry ones. So anywhere he could go, I mean, that to him was home, was having something with that the heat of chili really made him happy.
Yeah. Also, by the way,
What's that? Says citron?
it's
No.
pillow. It's
Oh,
so delicious. Do you have a pillow?
no,
Do you get pumpkins there? Can you see?
I don't think so.
It looks kind of like a big lemon, like from Procida, but it looks like one of the bread lemons. But inside, it's like sweet, delicate grapefruit. It's a Chinese, around Chinese New Year's especially, they have them. But
And
Little
where
had
did
a
you get
special
that?
one.
Where did you find that?
Ooh.
Where did you get it?
Little,
Oh, really?
the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's amazing.
special. So how could I not get it? So I had to. It's so good. I can open it now and show you what it's like inside.
What
Oh,
are
it
you going to
smells
do
so
with it?
good.
What will you do with it?
Would you like a piece?
No,
I
thank you.
think it's quite thick. It's not easy to peel.
Uh-huh.
Mm. See, it's like, oh, but it's just so fragrant. It's like delicate. It's delicate citrus. Like a grapefruit is delicious, but it's a little sharp, or it can be a
Yeah, a
little
little more
sharp,
acidic. Yeah.
a little bit acidic, a little bitter. I like that bitter. Oh, this is so hard to peel. I might give up.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Marlena. That's okay.
It's a little late, but so you can see how much peel it has.
Yeah, yeah, really thick.
Ooh. I think it'd be really nice to candy. So I'm going to candy this.
Uh-huh.
I promise. And else do we have? Oh my gosh, I forgot. Okay.
San
San
Marzano.
Marcos.
You're
Because
the tomato queen.
yeah, and from my own experience, I swear from my own experience, if I go and I cook for friends, any country, doesn't matter. But if I go and I cook, chances are I'm going to be making something with tomatoes because I do love them. They're so good for you. But if I, you know, buy the tomatoes there, and let's face it, they're not the same where everywhere. They're better from Europe. And yes, I consult for them. But the thing is this, it makes such a huge difference. So if I go someplace, I want to be sure I have good tomatoes.
Well, I remember when you invited me on that fabulous press trip and we went to Sarno and actually saw the tomatoes growing and those small families that work with the cooperative that raise them and hand picking them at the right moment. I mean, people, I don't know if they really realize how important ripe tomatoes are, and that, once a year they're crazy picking all those tomatoes at the right moment as opposed to just canning tomatoes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they go crazy, and it's so great to be like part of it, because I think that any food, when it has a story behind it,
Mhm.
is better, because
Oh,
the
of course.
story is usually about how the food got here, and it's usually important. It's not like one person says, oh yeah, great, let's do that. But it's got like complicated stuff, backstory. And so, yeah, the tomatoes, the San Marzanos around the Sarno, if you want a great holiday would be just to go there around August with a salt
It's just so
shaker.
hot. It's so hot. Yeah, but it's I
Um,
think also if someone realizes how much work and precision and why something might be a little more expensive. Also, probably half the price is just the import facts, but no one ever asks why Chanel is expensive, or perfume, or Italian leather shoes. They'll pay, $250 for something that's an accessory rather than what is actually what we're eating and going into our bodies. And that's always kind of crazy, but you'll spend a lot of money to eat at a restaurant. And I think maybe
Yeah.
now that people are actually cooking at home, I hope they get the value of buying better quality ingredients and making it taste like restaurant food. And you can get San Marzano so easily now in America too.
Part of the problem in America is that there's a problem with labeling, and now that there's the I Love San Marzano DOP. So as long as you see that DOP and it's from Sarno, etc., you know it's the right stuff, and that makes a
Yeah.
huge difference.
It's
Um,
guaranteed. I mean, that's it. There's so much like the fake balsamic vinegars, and things like that too. You have to
that's
educate
crazy,
people.
as if it was all balsamico, and
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
Um, oh, funny story. Do you know who gave me the first balsamic vinegar to taste?
No?
James Beard.
Oh, really? Wow.
It was just so silly. Well, it wasn't silly, but yeah, I was so young and tired. And I was in the 80s in San Francisco, and I was just starting to write. And he had a little class, and he takes out this jar and he says, balsamic vinegar, it's 100 years old. And I tasted it. It was delicious, but it wasn't vinegar. I love vinegar. And I
Yeah,
tasted
yeah.
it, and wheat, and it was just like really thick and very deep and winey, and yeah, it was really fantastic experience.
I
So
remember
that's
when that first like grocery store quality came in. It was the Feeney family. It had that bottle that was like white and 8 sides. Do you remember the white glass? It's kind of a smoked white glass, and it was considered such like a designer thing and very chic. And it wasn't, $100 a bottle. It was grocery store quality, but it was the first one. So Americans just went crazy about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I, it- yeah, I'm so glad people are spending more on treats for themselves. And a funny thing was, so at the beginning of lockdown, we didn't know how long it would last. And the first thing I thought, oh my God, where am I going to get my little treats from? And it's funny what you want. So I did order some gin fairly early in my first Tesco's delivery. But what I really did was I got a box of cheese from a French importer, so that was fantastic. A pause and runny things. I think I did a little video
Yeah.
of that was great. And it kept me going.
Did you also get your French bread from Poland?
Yeah. Well, yeah. French
Was that
bread
in your
and
bag or was that you have it shipped?
when I came back from Italy before lockdown, I was in Naples too, so I had pane caffone, this big
Oh, I love that.
sourdough, right into the freezer. I swear I had about 6 months supply. The freezer is an extension of my handbag. And anyway, yeah, so it was just interesting, the things that you realize, okay, I might be a little bit of a prisoner here. I won't see friends. I was on my way to California to see my daughter, my grandson, their poodles. It's going to be so great. I mean, within a few days, I was going to be on that plane, and suddenly, I wasn't going to be leaving the house for a while.
Yeah.
So I had to get cheese.
So what's on
And I
your
had-
table tonight?
Mhm.
What's on your table tonight? What's for dinner?
Well, I'm going to make myself a little martini, but tonight is Hanukkah. And as we've been talking, the first night candle has burnt down, but we've got the shamas, which is the one you light them with. And so tonight's the first night of Hanukkah. And at Hanukkah, because it's all about the oil lamp, the light, that it was a miracle. It went for 8 days instead of just one. And we eat things that are fried. Okay, the Ashkenazis, a lot of Ashkenazis, Europeans, they know about latkes, potato pancakes, which is a new world thing. So it's very recent. And then the North Africans, a lot of the Sephardis, the Middle Eastern, people who aren't necessarily Ashkenazi, Eastern European, they do other things like crispy fried things, just dripping with syrup or rolled in nuts. And in Israel, they do sufganiyot. Now, when I lived there a long time ago, it was just plain donuts and you bit in, it was full of hot jelly. It was superb. It was like the best bad donut ever. It was just divine. And little shops would open up at Hanukkah time and go by, and it was great. But now they have these really fancy ones. They have like all these sufganiyot that are like, they're crazy. They're so fancy. Google and you'll see them and you'll like, whoa, this is kind of nuts. And they're so excessive. But so here we are in the Ashkenazi kitchen for a while. I like, it's like Sephardic, Ashkenazi. I like to be everything. I'm a little Chinese, my grandmother, as are you. And
Yeah, well, Russian.
yeah, the Russian. Yeah, Russian from China. But the thing is, that I get so excited when I think about people all over the world. I get so excited. So of course, here I am like a prisoner in my house without talking to anyone. But my neighbors, it turns out during this lockdown, my neighbors next door left and new neighbors moved in. And guess where they're from?
Where?
Hong Kong and Yantai.
Oh, fun.
So that's really nice, but it's a shame that we can't visit too close. But anyway, so in my Ashkenazi hat, I made latkes. And there's just, latkes are pancakes. I'm going to hold one up and then we're going to taste it. I made 3 kinds of latkes because people are going a little crazy. And so I want to go a little crazy too. My usual latkes are just potatoes, onion, and I fry them in olive oil. Sometimes I put little smoked salmon on top to eat it, like if it's a party, or even foie gras and little beetroot sort of jam. Yeah, it's so good. Like a beetroot chutney and a little foie gras. And I mean, you can just go crazy, but you can go crazy in a bad way too. So you have to, you have to be careful because the latke itself is this beautiful thing. So I've made, and I used to cater when I had catering company in San Francisco. I used to cater, and I had to make. I said, "Oh yeah, I'll do 400 latkes or latkes for 400 people, no problem." And I had a little kitchen in the middle of my living room. It was so tiny. So my girlfriend said, "Okay, well, you can use mine." So we made latkes, and we filled up boxes and boxes and boxes of latkes. They were really good. She had to repaint her kitchen afterwards from all the oil. But they were great. And latkes for 400 people is a lot.
That's crazy.
But we have latkes. There's enough for you and enough for anyone who wants to come visit. So it's really just, yeah, grated potatoes with, I used rice flour to bind it, but you could use matzo meal or flour. I grated up an onion and an egg. I didn't grate the egg, I just smushed it in. And you want to get rid of the liquid, so you sort of drain it, but you keep the potato starch. So and you want it to be really crispy on the outside and soft, and soft and potatoy on the inside. So that's what you aim for. And you can do things like shred zucchini into it, or carrots or sweet potatoes. I like zucchini a lot with potatoes, but sometimes it gets a little crazy, and I've seen some really crazy latkes on the internet the last couple of days. So no, some of them, no. But what was exciting was I saw people tweeting and saying things like, "Oh yeah, I put pickles in my latkes," and I thought, oh, I can do that. Why did I think of that first? And then I remembered when I was in Korea last year around this time, and they made these big, like flat, like a latke, but big. And they fry them, it's like a street food thing. And they make them out of potatoes, or they might make them out of like a rice batter with big pieces of green onion, or they might make it out of soaked and pureed split peas or lentils, and they're really, really good. So I thought, what, and I'm looking to see which one of this might have, yeah, maybe this one. Anyhow, so I thought, why don't I put some Korean spices in it, or just, Asian spices anyway. So I put some chili crunch, and I put some coriander. I don't know if you can see.
Little green bits in there, yeah.
And I put some cumin and garlic. Anyway, if you should make these yourself, I think the answer is yes.
Is it yummy?
Yes, bit spicy, a bit spicy, but so good. Oh, that is so good. Okay, that's one we can't miss. Now the other one is, and I have plain ones here too. Let's find the one with pickles. Excuse me, I'm going to have to handle the latkes to make sure we find the one with the pickles. Okay. Sorry about handling them all, but okay, let's try this one. There's some little bits of shredded pickle in there.
Did you
And I
grate
used
them?
those that I brought back from Budapest. They're so good. They're like pickles, but maybe not with dill, but they're fermented with salt. A little piece of bread gets the fermentation going. Very garlicky, very fermenty. So yes, for the grated pickles added to the latkes. Definitely yes. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Don't say no. They're good. You don't have to make them all. Oh, they're so good. You don't have to make them all pickly. You just take a little batter and grate a pickle into it. You could even put dill, but I didn't have any dill. Now the other ones are just potato pancake, right? Yeah. We don't need a guided tour. But instead, you know what goes really good with latkes? Well, actually, vodkas go really good with latkes. But I don't have any vodkas. I have some gin. I'm trying to open it. Oh no, what if I can't open the gin because my hands are all greasy
now
from the
your hands
latkes?
are greasy, yeah. My grandmother was the queen of vodka, but she didn't make latkes. She was raised Catholic, so we didn't get any of that.
Yeah. Well, do you know I didn't get latkes growing up either? I don't know why. My mother didn't fry them. My grandmother didn't fry them. My cousins fried them, but they hated me, so I didn't get the latkes. Then first husband was fantastic at latkes. He made the most amazing latkes, and you know, so I was hooked. Now this is my martini because olives are so good, and because you know when you go get a martini at a bar, how many olives do they give you? Like
Not
I
enough.
don't know because I do it, but they don't give you a lot. So I think I'm going to put a lot of olives into this martini because to me,
olives than martini.
Because I like olives more than I like martini.
Do you make
Together,
a dirty martini? Do you put some of the olive juice in there?
What's that?
The dirty martini where you put the olive juice in your martini?
Yes, exactly. Oh, this is so good. That is just perfect. But don't tell anyone I'm drinking this because I'm thinking this might be a little bit of a crazy drink.
Why is it crazy? It's also you're eating and drinking. It's very balanced.
So good. And, you know, just in case you need some, because always have a few little tomatoes. You
Are those
walk by
ones or plain?
tomatoes. And now, you know, it's not tomato season, so I depend on little. But I like to always have a little bowl of tomatoes and walk by, refresh my palate after my olive chini with the 20 olives and a little bit of alcohol.
Well, Marlena.
The tomato is perfect.
So now we're getting ready for Christmas. And I think the biggest Christmas menu is from Naples. So
Yes.
I'm gonna make your giardiniere for Christmas.
Oh, gosh.
Your
I thought I
insalata di rinforzo.
Oh, good. I thought I had one in my handbag. I must have given it. Yeah, I don't. Thank you for holding it up.
Let me just get there, because we make the giardiniere, but in Naples, they have a different name for it, the insalata di rinforzo, 161.
Mm,
And I just love that because it's the salad that never stops. You just keep adding things to it once you've eaten things out of it. And I think that's such a creative idea because it's like the never ending party. Here it is, 162, the insalata di rinforzo. So it's the cauliflower base, right? And then all your beautiful chili peppers and capers and roasted peppers, and the olives, the brine, the vinegar, and I love it so much because it is, like you said, refreshing your palate all the time. And what they start like on the Christmas Eve with the 7 fish meal, right?
yes, yeah. They you know what I'm always amazed at with the reinforcement salad is you know, the Neapolitans don't eat so many pickles. Italians don't eat pickles preserved in olive oil, that sort of thing, but
No,
not like a.
we have them as like an addition to other things. We don't really eat pickles. We eat pickled things. I mean, they have the giardiniera is pickled cauliflowers, red peppers, carrots, anything in that, but it's usually added to something or served on the side of the boiled beef dinner or something like that, but not really
Yeah.
dill pickles or something like that.
You know, and a funny thing happened. I made a jar of kosher dills. They were, you know, salt fermented, no vinegar, very, very strong. They were really good. And I went to some sort of event in Naples or Vietri in the Amalfi Coast. And there we had this little gathering. It was so nice. People from all over the world. And I passed around my pickles because I thought, oh my God, they're going to love this so much. And they were British. Okay, no, people were horrified by my pickles. They were like kind of horrified. The Japanese guy, he was great. He goes, this is the most umami thing I've ever eaten in my life. And he asked if he could take the leftovers back. So I said, of course. But what was really sweet was the Italians. They didn't want to hurt my feelings. And I could tell they didn't really like it because I think it is a bit of a acquired taste.
Mhm.
And they were like, maybe if you put it in olive oil.
Yeah,
It was so,
often.
but yeah. So because I'm in the English countryside, and because I'm not going anyplace else for Christmas, I wanted to share a little mince pie with you.
So does your mince have suet in it?
It can. It depends on if you make it yourself. I did buy these. But sometimes when I make it myself, I do start from scratch with the suet. And you can have vegetable suet or real suet meat from meat. And that's why they call it mince meat.
Didn't it used to be meat? Wasn't it meat before?
It's what?
Wasn't there meat in the mince meat originally?
No, it doesn't have meat now.
But didn't it before? I know in
Yes.
Sicily, there's a small cookie that has a meat base to it and chocolate. And it's a sweet with kind of Spanish influence of the spices. And
there's that dip with of blood to dip the sweet donutty things in
Where?
somewhere. I think it's like Campania.
I've
but
had
most
pig's
of
blood. I've
it's-
had pig's blood crepes that were served with sugar that were delicious. They actually get the fresh
so
pig's
I'm
blood and they make a crepe batter out of it. And you can either have it with Parmesan cheese or with
Mhm.
sugar, and it's served for the blessing of the animals on St. Anthony's Day in January.
I have a hard time with blood. I don't like, I'm not really super picky about food in general,
Mhm.
except I want it to be really, really good. But blood bothers me.
What's
I
the
know there's
sausage
reason.
made out of for the English breakfast? Is that a blood sausage?
They have that black pudding.
Yeah, do you eat that? I like that. That was good. No?
I know it can be really good, but I just can't. On the other hand, I am the queen of haggis. I love haggis. Have you ever had a haggis?
No,
Oh, I can't believe it. I'm going to bring you one. I
No,
swear
thank
I'm
you.
going to bring
It's
you a
okay.
haggis.
I think some things should be eaten where they're created to get the
You know,
full
haggis
experience.
and it's oats, a lot of pepper. It's yeah, it's so good. It's meaty and it's not like anything else. It's just nice and meaty and homey and
Are you
heavy.
going to make anything special for Christmas?
Well, I have a turkey in the freezer. And yeah, we'll just have a turkey. I'll make cranberry sauce because I have cranberries in the freezer as well. Oh, and Alan is British. He loves a trifle.
Lovely.
Really, that's probably about it. Sometimes we have little carolers come by and they're really sweet, but I don't think people are going to be singing, on doorsteps.
It's going to be a really different Christmas, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And they-
Marlena, are you going to keep doing your little lives out of your kitchen now? Are you going to start that in January?
I'm sorry,
Facebook
what?
Lives?
It's the sound and the vision is not
Yeah, we've had a
together.
bad connection.
Right.
Are you going to do Facebook Lives from your kitchen?
Yes,
I saw you do some already.
I want to do Facebook Live every day now. This is so much fun.
Well, I think too, it's better in the daytime because I know it's really hard with the lighting at night. But for me,
Yeah.
broadcasting at night, then we get our friends in America, like at lunchtime or in the morning or something that was better off. So people can stay tuned to your channel and watch you do Facebook Lives and follow you. And the thing that's good about that too is they remain on Facebook, so you can bring them up again if you ever talk about the subjects. So I'm going to close this off on Facebook and I'm going to stay here on Zoom just for a minute. Okay.
And I'm going to
Just a minute,
toast
just a minute, just